The Rox run has truly been generational, and in this video I'm going to be going through his entire life from the very beginning all the way to his final moments as a member of the D tribe, and also his incredible legacy that still continues to shake the world of One Piece. So make sure to watch till the end because you're not going to want to miss this one. But starting from the very beginning, our king Rox D Xebec was born at God Valley to the Davy family, who are then revealed to be the descendants of Davy Jones, the king of the world. But because this celestial scum had it out for this lineage, Xebec had to hide his identity behind the now infamous Rox D Xebec alias. So what happened next? Fast forward a few decades later, specifically about 56 years before the present day, where Imu has personally pulled up to Elbaf, Rox was at the reverie. He killed a marine admiral, kidnapped 5 kings, and in a historical anomaly never repeated before or since, Rox infiltrated the Chamber of Flowers at the very core of the Holy Land. He introduced himself as a Davy and declared that he would be back. I mean, he knew he had that dog in him, and Oda specifically went out of his way to show that by actually having him kill an admiral. Like, come on, let's be real for a moment. How bad do you have to be beaten to actually die in One Piece? And if killing an admiral and pulling up to Imu's bedroom wasn't enough for one day, he also had a conqueror's hockey clash with Harold, the king of Elbaf, that knocked away everyone within a 5-kilometer radius. The two exchanged names and escaped together, or more like Rox told Harold which way Elbaf was, and then Harold simply just jumped off the red line. Rox received a heavy bounty and quickly started doing things that Garp would dislike, like attacking a ship holding the heavenly tribute, destroying the gates of justice, and starting a legitimate pirate business. He did Davy back fights to gather some of the most powerful and upcoming individuals on the sea, like Edward Newgate, Shiki, Buckingham Stussy, Wang Zi, and Gonzui. 7 years after Rox's chance meeting with Harold at Mari Jawa, Rox and his gang arrive on Elbaf to meet the king. Rox starts off with a strong impression by beating Loki's ass so that Harold would have to return home, because, you know, if you beat up someone's child, then daddy's coming home. When Harold returns, Rox compliments him and also axes him out. Harold, of course, wants nothing to do with a pirate like Rox. He is, after all, a leader of a nation trying to find their place in the world. But Rox is a lot like Luffy in a sense where he's too selfish to accept no as an answer. You can also tell that he thinks Harold will eventually come around, so for what that's worth, he reveals his next course of action and his grand plan to Harold. First, he reveals his deal with the government about invading Hanshiso, but instead of giving the island to the government, he turned it into a pirate stronghold. Rox also declares that this is just the prologue of his life. His true goal was to defeat the Marines, bring down the world government, and then become king of the world. Harold was of course skeptical, as Rox was essentially proposing a fight against the whole world, but wait, there was someone at the scene who saw Rox's larger-than-life aura for what it was. Loki was listening in, and he knew that this dude Rox was simply that guy. Now let's look at what happens next. For the next 4 years, he continuously keeps pulling up to Elbaf and asking Harold to join him in his world conquest, and while Harold isn't on the same wavelength, Loki continues to be impressed by Rox, and he eventually asks if he can join Rox's crew. Rox did not want him, so Loki threw hands and ended up getting his ass beat by Rox, and soon it's 44 years before the present day. Rox invades and conquers Hanshiso and officially establishes his Rox Pirates. In the month that follows, Rox does cool things like blowing out 2 holes in the skull-shaped rock on the island to make it look like his Jolly Roger. Overall, the island truly became the pirate capital of the world, and now we move on to Rox's actual goal. He tells the Rock Pirates that they need 2 devil fruits, and that one of them is in Elbaf, as well as how Harold eating it would unlock its true power. Now, as of chapter 1168, we still don't know exactly what that fruit of Elbaf is. What do you guys think? Is it the Nika fruit after all? Let me know your thoughts down below. But as for the other fruit, I'm very confident that it's Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi. I mean, it's all but confirmed that the darkness can suck everything, including the devil itself, which is clearly Imu in this case. So I'm sure we can all agree that the second fruit will be the Yami Yami no Mi. Now, aside from the fruits, Rox also tells them that they need the help of the Galila giants, and of course he needs Harold to lead them to. Now here, Kaido ends up losing aura points because he brings up how they should just force Harold to comply, and Rox reacts by kicking him in the face. This just goes to show that Harold is his buddy after all. So with that said, Rox and the Rox Pirates, which now included Kaido and Big Mom, aura farm as Rox declares that Elbaf is the key to taking down the Holy Land. He then adds that if they were to continue following him, he would show them the peak of the world. Over the next 2 years, Rox and his crew wreak havoc as they pillaged many islands across the seas. They mounted 16 raids, sunk 76 individual ships, destroyed 14 ports and 5 towns. They even brought down an entire nation. This was truly the Rox era. Though we can only guess the specifics of what they did, the world government's propaganda outlet is just too strong. At least we know that when they raided a temple of the International Philanthropy Federation, the whole organization turned out to be a scam that was hoarding all the donations. Still, Rox pirates were pirates in the truest sense. Their first priority was always to rob and plunder. Sometime later, Rox returns to Elbaf to see Harold, his old friend, once again. This visit happens after the government's propaganda piece on Harold sinking an innocent government warship, even though he was actually just saving a nation that had helped Elbaf. Rox laughs at what Harold has been doing with the whole world government thing and reminds him that the world government would never accept the giants and they would be better off joining him. Harold continues to be persistent in his ideals, and his shaved head at this point is proof. The two of them also talk about Garp, and Rox says that Garp would be far better as a pirate. Harold brings the conversation back to his ideals by reminding Rox that while there may be a few corrupt individuals, the average Marine helped more people than they hurt, and the Marines as a whole are a fine organization. Rox sighs and turns to Ida to ask her to convince Harold, but Ida, being the embodiment of wholesomeness, she jokes that if Harold was her son, she'd tell him to choose better friends. Now, while Rox is still at Elbaf, Loki approaches him and brings up joining his crew, and although Rox doesn't want him, this meeting between them was actually very critical because of one specific detail. You see, when Loki brings up Nika and how he thinks it's Rox, Rox is confused. This is very interesting because Rox is the one character who knows how things are. He knows about Joey Boy and Davy D Jones, and he's been to Emu's bedroom. He even knows about the devil fruits he needs and the Galila giants, but for some reason he doesn't recognize the term Nika. But of course, this also all makes sense. Nika is a mythical figure while Joy Boy is the first pirate from the Void Century. However, only giants and buccaneers know Nika by name. The fishermen value the sun, but they only know about Joy Boy. Meanwhile, the Kozuki clan of Wano and the Minks know about the Dawn and Joy Boy, but not Nika. There are the Shindians who also know about the sun god, but not about Nika because of how they were basically worshipping a random big snake. There's King the Lunarian who knew about Joy Boy, but we don't know if he knew about Nika, the sun god. And finally, there's the Davy family who knows about Joy Boy and Davy D Jones, and they are the descendants of Davy D Jones, who was the king of the world. But like we see here with Rox, he doesn't know about Nika. I just know that once this all connects in the manga, this will be generational writing across the whole manga world. But getting back to the conversation between Rox and Loki. After Loki talks about Nika destroying the world, Rox replies that rather than destroying the world, he instead wished to rule over it. Though he also added that only Harold has such a power to destroy the world due to his ability to control the legendary Galila. Naturally, Loki asks why they haven't teamed up yet, and while Rox replies that it was because of love. And speaking of love, 42 years ago, right about when Shaki quit as the captain of the Kuja pirates and opened a bar on Pirate Island, everyone, including Rox, was foaming from their mouths. But then again, within 2 years of Shaki opening the bar, Rox marries Ares, had a child named Teach with her, and he sends them both to his homeland, God Valley, so that they can stay out of trouble and remain under the protection of the Davy family. Meanwhile, back on Pirate Island, members of the Rox pirates notice Rox's good mood and realize that he has fallen in love. Suddenly, Roger enters the chat, the bar, which leads to a confrontation between Rox and Roger. But conveniently, Shaki has forbidden fighting, so the situation stays calm. Honestly, it's so surreal just to see how everything was chill before the Great Pirate era. You see Roger just laughing and sharing drinks with Big Mom. Kinda makes sense why Roger later avoided a full-scale confrontation with Big Mom when he went to take her rolled poneglyph. Now, around the same time, when Rox returns to Elbaf as usual, Harold throws hands. This is after the 5 elders offer Elbaf a place in the world government on on the condition that the Giants kill Rox. Harold put his position as a king over his position as a friend and accepted. They have their absolutely ridiculous Conquerors hockey clashes while also engaging in a conversation where Rox asks Harold why he would willingly make himself a puppet to the world government and pointed out that they only saw the Giants as military assets. He questions how that goes against Harold's own desire for a peaceful nation, but Harold counters by declaring that Rox was ignorant of Elbaf's history and that by joining the government they could begin the process of repairing their violent reputation. They then throw more hands until Rox has had enough. He tells Harold that they were no longer friends and that he would never again offer Harold a spot in the crew. About 39 years ago now, Shaki was abducted from Hanchi Seoul. She is basically sold for quick money by Wang Zi of the Rock Pirates, the same pirate that got handed an L by Blackbeard, Kobe, and Law during the Rocky Port incident right before Blackbeard claimed Pirate Island Hanchi Noso as his territory. Having said that, the Shaki kidnapping incident led us to what happened 38 years ago. The native hunting competition at God Valley. Shaki is one of the prizes, and so Rox gets the crew ready so that they can go and take her back. Little did he know, the same island where he was born would be the place he dies. As we see during Rox's last conversation with Harold on the seas, Rox knew something was going to go very wrong, but he also knew that as long as his wife and son survive, it'll be enough for him. And then once again asks Harold for help. While Harold refuses, the way this scene is framed makes it clear that he basically lets Rox continue onward instead of getting in the way. At God Valley, all hell breaks loose as first the Rock Pirates, then the Roger Pirates, and then Garp, the hero of the Marines, enter the chat. Not to mention other elements like the Holy Knights, Shanks and Shamrock, Kuma, Ivankov, Guinea, Shaki, and of course the man who'll go on to become the world's worst criminal, Monkey D. Dragon. Everything is all over the place, but Rox manages to find Iris and Teach. He also runs into Holy Knights like Garling, but from the looks of it, it's clear that Garling has already experienced an L. Iris tells him that they should split up so that Rox can fight properly, and while Rox is worried about what can happen if she gets caught, she assures Rox that if they get caught, they'll take their own lives, and if they survive, they would meet again on Luluisa. Then with no reasons left to hold back, Rox turns around to face Garling and his Dami Reversi family. He just straight up cleans them all. But ultimately, as Emu personally appears on God Valley, Rox braces himself. Whitebeard joins him even though there's really no reason to, but he does anyway to pay Rox back for all the times he paid for his drink. At this point, Kaido has eaten the mythical dragon fruit and he wants to test its powers, so he also joins Rock and Whitebeard just as Emu appears on the stage. It's a wholesome yet also a larger than life moment as Rox, Whitebeard, and Kaido are now feeling like such layered characters. And while when Whitebeard asks what they are facing, Rox simply replies that it's the world itself. Rox also mocks Emu for descending all the way here, while Emu addresses Rox by the name Davy Jones. Again, this is similar to how at the end of Egghead, Emu was furious at Saturn for letting Joy Boy escape. For some reason, Emu is too fixated on the names Joy Boy and Davy Jones. Now, Rox tells Emu that he's not Davy Jones and that he has never even met the guy, but he also adds that promises are meant to be kept. This rage baits Emu into attacking Rox, and Emu also claims that Emu's world is incomplete. Rox retaliates and declares that the world is not Emu. Then, together with Garp's Galaxy Impact, Roger's Divine Departure, Whitebeard's Shattering Void, Kaido's Dragon, and Big Mom's Ikaku Sovereignty, Rox lands his Panomium on Emu. We're talking about a combination play from 6 top tier characters. It's by far the most amount of attack potency we've ever seen in a single One Piece panel. It didn't work though. Emu's just built different. The tune of the battle also shifts significantly as Emu notices Iris and Teach running away. Naturally, Rox would respond by slicing Emu into multiple pieces, but that too didn't work. Emu simply gets a hold of Rox and uses Dami Reversi. Rox's will and consciousness begin to fade away, but he makes sure to get one last minute of aura farming as he points out that Davy Jones was the original king of the world. Emu takes the bait, which also allows Rock to further rage bait Emu by also bringing up Joy Boy and then asking Emu about who is more frightening, Davy D. Jones or Joy Boy. Now at this point, Rox is still in control, but Emu brings up the plan to subjugate Elbaf and the Giants. This gets on Rox's nerve because Harold is his friend who only wants peace, and while this momentary loss in nerves allows Emu to complete the Dami Reversi and turn Rox into his puppet demon. Emu then gives Rox a single order: end Davy Jones's dream by slaying his remaining family and eliminate anyone who gets in his way. Rox quickly gets to work. First, he one-shots Kaido and Big Mom. Then he has an epic Conqueror's hockey clash with Whitebeard that destroys one of God Valley's 2 iconic mountains, and then he goes after Iris and Teach. Iris realizes what happened, and for a moment it does feel like it's too late, but then Kumo pops up with his hands of liberation and sends Iris and Teach somewhere not here, somewhere safe. This happens at the same time as some marine cannons fire, so Emu ends up assuming that yes, the last of the Davy family has been killed. Emu then orders Rox to kill all who are still on God Valley, and that brings us to the long-awaited Rox versus Roger and Garp. But before this legendary battle could even begin, Rox, with tears in his eyes, uses the voice of all things to beg them to please just kill him. The scale of the battle begins by destroying God Valley itself, but neither Garp nor Roger can actually hurt Rox, which then leads to the other God Valley mountain soon to be destroyed. Eventually, Roger and Garp come up with a plan to just unleash all of their Conqueror's Haki at once to outdo Rox's own Conqueror's Haki. They understand it's risky because if they fail, they'll be out of gas, but for this one combo Conqueror's Haki attack, as they see and acknowledge Rox's tear and pain despite not knowing what's going on, they truly lock in. Roger uses God of Fire Ace, while Garp uses Infinite Explosion, and together they quite literally knock the Dami Reversi out of Rox. Rox's final moments are just as bittersweet as they are tragic. He sees Roger and Garp and wants them to escape because they should not be the ones to die. He also thanks them for stopping him, and then with a look of acceptance on his fate, Rox's eternal world goes blank as Garland lands the final blow. This is what happened on God Valley 38 years ago. Now, unlike the other deaths, we don't really see Rox's beaming smile face at the moment of his death, but I don't think that changes the fact that, like other members of the D tribe, Rox was also at peace with his fate because he saved his family. Plus, despite the fact that the very existence of Rox as a pirate and God Valley as a nation was erased, Rox's legacy still continues to shake the world till this day. Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Kaido went on to become emperors that ruled the New World. Shiki gathered the greatest fleet on the seas, but more importantly, Rox's son, Marshall D. Teach, is the single greatest threat to Emu. Yes, I'd argue that Blackbeard is a greater threat to Emu than Luffy is because Blackbeard is going to fulfill Rox's promise. But let me point out that while Blackbeard inherited the will of the Davy family, the man who has inherited Rox's will is Loki, and he is also very much a threat to Emu that cannot be ignored. But hey, let's wait and see what more Oda has to cook with the future chapters coming along. As for the man, the myth, the legend, Rox, or Davy D. Xebec, what do you guys think? Did you enjoy his character? Is this something that you expected from a true pirate? Let me know down in the comments all your thoughts. I'm gonna go ahead and read through all of them as much as I can. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to smash that like button for me and hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on some more in the future. But with that being said, thanks for watching and stay tuned for some future peek piece coming to the channel. Peace.